Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The Game Changers World Championship is nearing its conclusion, but the big drama last night was about the brand new agent updates we are seeing come into play. A Gekko buff and a Skye Nerf. Ethan, formerly of VG, potentially still a VG, possibly of NRG for the upcoming season, says this is another nerf in the wrong direction from Riot, reducing the skill gap and increasing the ability of bad players to get kills with this type of equipment. Is this a fair assessment? Very much interested to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all though, Sentinels, here they are, arriving in Korea for the Africa TV International Tournament going on in the next couple of days. This is like the big tournament of December, there's no doubt about it. There's a few other ones going on as well, but yeah, I mean, Sentinels play, they play Paper X round 1, very exciting stuff, and here they are arriving in time for the event. Of course, Pancada's here as well, but we don't know if Pancada will be, so we're just right to left, we've got Kaplan, Pancada, John QT, Zelsis, Sassy, Tens, of course. Zeka looks like he's still asleep, and then Drew Spark, their assistant coach. So, yeah, Pancada is here as a substitute, it seems, for the roster, and maybe will not be starting because Zelsis is, we believe, going to be the main man. So, kind of crazy stuff. There is, of course, another tournament going down. If I just hit the refresh on this, the Riot Games 1 tournament, and, well, so far, it's looking good for Na'Vi. Bleed Esports, of course, come in here with no Yay. We talked about that story yesterday, that Bleed were not able to play with their full roster. They've just been playing best of 1 so far. So, Ligier comes in for Yay. They lost to Na'Vi here 13-7. Shao had a particularly impressive map 1. Then they played another best of 1 just now against DFM, that new DFM team that we've seen formed over the last couple of days. And this was, well, very convincing 13-3 as well. So, yeah, Na'Vi definitely the team to beat here. Kind of a shame to see what Bleed could have done if they had Yay in the team. We'll see how Zeta get on in more matches that are coming up. I guess they're playing DFM right now. And, well, so far it's 3-0 Zeta division here on this Bree. It's kind of rare to see Breeze played in best of 1s, really, because usually it gets, banned out. We don't see too many teams leaning into that for the time being. There's also this, which is kind of cool, presented by Shopify Rebellion, the off-season showdown. More details on this coming soon, but Sean Guest kind of reveals it yesterday. So I do love the amount of tournaments and things there are to watch during the off-season compared to some other esports that you guys may or may not be aware of. But yeah, that Africa TV tournament, that's a big one in a couple of days' time. Sentinels and other teams, I guess, are out there ready to go already. The big tournament, though, of the moment, though, is in Sao Paulo, the Game Changers World Championship. Unfortunately, again, for the BBL Queens, 2 additional members of the BBL Queens produced positive results for COVID or whatever, so they've now got to play isolated. Like, it's a story as old as time, isn't it, that it's some sort of EMEA Valorant team turns up to a big event and, COVID ruins their time. It's happened plenty of times before, so really a shame for these girls that, practice all this time, and then they can't play on stage together. Now, the reality is, are they the favourites for the tournament? No, and we'll see the favourites in just a couple of seconds. Couple of elimination games, though, going down yesterday. Team SMG took down Crew Blaze pretty emphatically, to be honest. This was the team from the APAC region that also could put up a fight. Kind of exciting, really, because you've got SR, from formerly version 1, from the Americas. You've got G2 Gozen from Europe, and then you've got the other favourites, potentially SMG. Primarily, of course, 3 of 5 players from the Philippines. Lotus was 13-3, Bind was 13-7. So, yeah, it wasn't so close. Crew Blaze out of the tournament very quickly. And BBL Queens, they get eliminated as well. Really a shame what happened on their side, but Team Liquid take them down another 2-0. Somewhat close to this series, 13-8 on the Ascent, and then a banger overtime in the Haven, which eventually Team Liquid Brazil get over the line. And, yeah, BBLQ are out of there going home. So, yeah, well, Team Liquid advanced to the tournament. As I said the other day, Team SMG are my pick to make it all the way to top 3. But will anyone be able to match either of these 2 teams come the, losers finals and certainly the grand finals? Bit of trash talk, right, between everyone, as Alexa says, my team, bar for bar, every player just owns everyone, and Petra's like, look, don't be cocky this time, we're not going to let you mess with us. And that seemed to be true map 1 of the series. Pretty funny, really, how this worked out, because there was, map 1 and map 2 were both like Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby, really. And then map 3 was more competitive. This was really the highlight of the series, from just a highlight perspective. I mean, the first kill on floor, and then the spray transfer on the third is disgusting. It's it's kind of ridiculous how both teams have a Sarah, you know what I mean? Like, there's Sarah on one team, and then there's, like, Sarah Cat on the other team. Kind of hilarious, but incredibly confusing for the casters and for the observers to figure out what is going on here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sarah Cat versus Sarah is another rematch in the grand finals, because these seem like the two strongest teams in the tournament at the moment. But in the end, SR get the win. So this is a competitive series, and I do wonder how much, like, in a best of 5, I think this series would be maybe even more interesting, because, you know, in terms of map pool, I think that's a big part of, you know, the way we saw this series go. Like, a lot of these maps, the first map was pretty one-sided, 13-6 on the breeze. In a 5-map series, which the grand finals will be, assuming these guys rematch again, as they may well do, I'm not sure we'd get a different result. I think that SR are the stronger team, as it stands. But I still think it would be a more interesting series to see how it would go. So SR, they won the first map, or they lost the first map 13-6 to G2 Gozen. Map to Ascent, though, was domination the other way, 13-3. So, you know, G2 dominated their pick. Ascent, it was dominated by Shopify Rebellion's pick. And then Sunset was the decider. Controversial map, to be honest. Many people don't massively like it, but it is what it is. It was left over, and if it was here in the best of 3, you'd imagine it's going to be here in a best of 5 if these guys rematch again. But yeah, 13-8 in the end. We had that you know, masterclass and Petra to try and save the game, but it didn't happen. Mel had a great series here as well. It's you know, it's obviously been a talking point that, oh, Floor's gonna hard carry and all this type of stuff, and there was quite a lot of talk, to be fair, from their coach that, well, you know, a bit of nerves here, maybe more so than they've seen previously. And sure, the G2 Gozen team might not be as strong as the one they turned up with last season, where they won. And, you know, Sarah doesn't have a great series with respect to Sarah Cat here, but who knows? Things can change come at the grand finals, and we'll see if they rematch, because of course this means that G2 goes down to the losers bracket to play the winner of Team Liquid Brazil and the SMG roster, of course. The winner of that then plays this team, well, the G2 Gozen team that just dropped down, and then the winner of that plays on the grand finals. In the grand finals tomorrow, they play, well, up against SR to see who's actually going to win the entire thing. This is then the bracket. So here we go. 2 games today. The losers round 3 to determine who makes it to the losers finals, then the lower final, and then the winner of that plays SR in the grand finals to probably lose them. But we shall see. It's game changers. Basically anything can happen. Now, of course, we've also got to mention, though, the updates to the agents arriving yesterday. Couple of big changes here. Firstly to Gekko, and then probably mainly to Skye. So, few changes to Gekko. Firstly, the reclaim time has been decreased for Dizzy, Thrash, and Wingman from 2 seconds down to 1 second. So that's somewhat of, you know, it's interesting. I wouldn't say it's massively significant. Gekko isn't a great agent. He hasn't been used that much. I don't expect him to get used that much in pro play anyway. But this Dizzy update is actually quite interesting. So Dizzy, of course, he's the one that you know, puts the blue stuff on your face where that he sees you and shoots the little, like, burst at you to blind you type thing. Basically a blinding thing that he throws out. Now, it's quite, well, I don't know, it's not easy to dodge exactly, but it's not that powerful compared to some other blinding characters that exist in the game. But Dizzy will now shoot and see enemies faster. So the targeting time has been reduced quite considerably from half a second down to, you know, 0.35 of a second, which is, you know, typically half a second is kind of enough to spot and either dodge or to shoot the guy or whatever. And, you know, but 3-5 seconds, by the time you've reacted to actually, you know, to actually react in time, that is quite a considerable change. The targeting time has been reduced, and the shooting speed has been increased quite considerably as well. So, you know, the travel time and this type of stuff. So, yeah, Dizzy is definitely significantly stronger now than it was previously. Is that enough on its own with these other changes to make Gekko viable? Probably not, but, okay, an interesting step, probably in the right direction. That's always the question with these agents, right? You've got agents that are strong, you've got agents that are weak. Do you buff the weak agents? Do you nerf the good agents? And they're probably going to do a bit of both, really, especially to the likes of Skye. So Skye is right now, you know, the strongest initiator, really, I would say, in the game. And I know there was lots of reaction to this saying, oh, I can't believe they're nerfing Skye again and all this stuff, but you know, to me, Skye is as good. I mean, I know there was some replies to this saying Skye used to be as good as 3 different, you know, initiators. Now she's only as good as 2. Possibly a fair analysis. Now, the big one, though, is on the Trailblazer. So, of course, the dog, who's been nerfed. So, the Trailblazer camera movement is now disabled while jumping. This is another interesting thing as well. If the Trailblazer is destroyed mid-jump, it will no longer cause, like, the concussive explosion. And said explosion, what the dog causes, will also affect allies as well. So it's only nerfing the dog for now, but still quite a considerable nerf. I would say this one I think is quite, it's interesting really that it now affects allies. I don't think there's any problem with this, but it does mean that it opens the door to Skye being used, ineffectively in certain situations, and also just nerfing the dog's movement in general kind of raises questions as to whether this is a good idea. And that's really what Ethan is trying to get across, is that it's another way, as far as he sees it, to shorten the skill gap. There was also talk, you guys remember, when the smokes, for example, the Astra smoke, the Omen smoke or whatever, or the Brim smoke, I'm pretty sure as well, has the almost like diamond or triangle things that pop up on it, whether it's like a second and a half before it's going to go. When the smoke is about to fade, people can kind of tell, when it's about to go. And lots of pros said, oh, this is a bad idea because it's reducing the skill gap. People should be able to, they should have to know how long it's going to last and when it's going to fade. And I get that perspective, but, is it a better trade-off? How much does it reduce the skill gap in pro play? How much of a skill gap is there in knowing when the smoke's going to fade? Not much, and most pros have that down to a T anyway. So does it really affect the pros? Possibly not. And does it make it a better experience for, lesser, more inexperienced players? Probably yes. So it's a balancing act there from Riot to make the game, they don't want to reduce the skill gap in the pro scene, but they also want to make the game play better for, lower skilled players, I guess, in ranked and stuff. But Ethan says this is reducing the skill gap because the Skye players with good dog movement were able to get so much out of it, which is true, but then again, people are saying, well, is there that much skill gap in dog movement and the ability that it now gets destroyed mid-jump and this type of stuff? Like, does that really matter that much? Is there that much of a skill gap in dog movement that this becomes super relevant? I don't know. And also, is Skye just kind of too strong anyway? You know what I'm saying? And people are talking about dog movement too in the replies. So I don't know what you guys think about this. Ethan doesn't seem so happy about it. Shazam also wasn't maybe so happy about it because his ranked teammates can now flash and stun me instead of, you get flashed and he gets stunned by Skye. Still, though, she's been very strong for quite some time. I'm not massively surprised she's getting a nerf. This seems to be a reasonable enough nerf to which point it's not going to destroy her as a character like they did to Chamber when he was way too strong. But it's probably just about reasonable enough. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. I guess the other point is that Skye will probably still very much be used. Maybe a slight reduction in pick rate, but I don't expect anything mega. Does Gekko get any use? I don't know. Obviously, we've seen a little bit of, Chamber and Neon and these agents kind of creep into the meta a little bit. So I don't know if Gekko could be viable. Like, obviously, he has some good features about him. I think he's so gimmicky with the wingman planting thing. I still just don't think that should be a thing in Valorant, to be honest. But it is what it is. And the option is there. And now he is stronger and potentially getting even stronger still. That opens the door to maybe, as Vanity says, with EU here, to start running Gekko on potentially a rather competitive level. But very much interested in your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.